Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that. And thank you, Secretary Mayorkas. And please express my thanks to all the good people under your watch and under your guidance in the Department of Homeland Security for what you do to keep us safe. 300 people a day. In this country, on average, 300 people a day die of overdose. We know that 80% of those, fentanyl poisoning. We have a serious problem. And I thank you for taking it seriously and doing what you can to interrupt and interdict the poisoning of Americans and interdict illicit drugs coming across our country. It wasn't so long ago, it was back in May that I joined Representative Escobar at the border in El Paso, got to meet with really terrific folks doing this work. What I'd like to say is we have a serious problem, but we don't have folks on the other side of the aisle serious about solving it. When they blame you, you are responsible for every one of the fentanyl deaths. What a disservice and a disgrace to the families in my district who have lost children and who will lose children to this fentanyl poisoning. It is a disgrace for folks to just demonize you, demonize those coming across our border seeking refuge. Can you tell us, on average, what are the facts about what's coming across our border through ports of entry in terms of illicit drugs, specifically fentanyl?
Congresswoman, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection data evidences that more than 90% of the fentanyl that is brought into this country is trafficked through the ports of entry, which is why we have surged operations to those ports of entry to increase the interdiction of fentanyl that is causing so much death and destruction in our country.
And who is bringing it across?
I believe the data suggests that approximately 70% of the people arrested are U.S. citizens.
Which makes perfect sense. Would you put your resource for the cartels and those who are selling this, would you put that resource on the back of a migrant likely not to make it across so that you would be able to sell this valuable, deadly resource? It makes perfect sense. Coming mostly through ports of entry, coming mostly by way of Americans, American citizens. It's shocking. But the seriousness that is lacked on the other side, they don't want to hear the facts. They don't want to solve this problem. They don't want to save lives, because if they did, they'd stop demonizing you and they'd stop demonizing the migrant. Can you tell us about what you said in your testimony? In your words, you said fentanyl is one of the most urgent and lethal threats to American communities today. Could you tell us about Operations Blue Lotus and Four Horsemen that stopped nearly 10,000 pounds of fentanyl from entering the U.S.?
Congresswoman, these operations reflect a surge of personnel and technology to enhance our interdiction capabilities and to arrest the perpetrators of this trafficking. I served as a prosecutor for 12 years. I prosecuted cocaine traffickers, methamphetamine traffickers, even black tar heroin traffickers. We have not seen a drug as dangerous as fentanyl and other synthetic opioids. Their toxicity make it extraordinarily challenging, as well as the profitability and ease of manufacture. It is because of the extraordinary work of U.S. Customs and Border Protection personnel, Homeland Security investigations personnel, other personnel throughout the Department of Homeland Security, working with our law enforcement and international partners, that we have been able to enhance and increase our interdiction and arrest capabilities, and we are seeing the results.
And I'd like to say, again, on the topic of seriousness, if my friends on the other side of the aisle were serious about saving lives from this fentanyl crisis, they would have voted for the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which included $430 million of investment to modernize our ports of entry and to help improve CBP. Or maybe they would have, not a single person on the other side of the aisle, voted for the 2023 omnibus bill. All House Judiciary Republicans opposed. It funded additional staffing for CBP's ports of entry. They're not serious people. They don't want to solve this problem. I wear this band for Jake, the son of a friend of mine who died from fentanyl poisoning, and they said, please do something about it. I thank you for what you and your members are doing about it.
Gentlelady yields